Everybody? Well, as y'all know, we got a lot of crap going on. Picking one thing to talk about can be a bit of a challenge, but I did find something I did want to discuss a little bit about. So what about Hilton, huh? For those of you who may not be tracking, I'm sure most of you are, federal agents were moving to a different town in Minnesota to conduct operations where they had already had reservations at a Hilton named hotel for their agents to stay. And then they get an email from said hotel saying, hey, we've canceled all your reservations because, well, fuck ICE. Yes, I am paraphrasing. But the one thing is at first DHS sent back, it's like, hey, we've had these reservations in place for a period of time. Why would you just up and cancel this? And so the hotel owner responds by once again just saying, fuck ICE. Well, here's the fun part. It turns out that particular Hilton hotel is not actually owned and operated by the Hilton Corporation. It is franchised. Hilton Corporation found out about this. Hilton Corporation got a hold of the owner of the hotel and says, hey, you need to honor these reservations. And the hotel owner says, oh, okay, fine, we'll honor the reservations. And then, of course, within hours, it was back to fuck ICE. Now, here's the one thing. There's a couple of arguments I've seen from people in regards to this situation in favor of this hotel owner. The first one being Third Amendment. Third Amendment that says, we cannot force people to quarter soldiers in, private residences. Which I understand that the Supreme Court has made decisions that, does not limit armed forces within the definition of soldiers. And it also does not limit actual private homes to the residence. It's any private property. We cannot force anybody to house government personnel on private property. Now, one argument being, y'all hear me out. The argument being is that was intended because that was a big habit of the British, prior to our independence was, they would literally go to a home and kick out the owners to house their soldiers there. And the big thing was the fact that people were not being compensated for that. It's not like they were going in, it's like, hey, we're going to rent a room. No, just get the fuck out while we stay here. So, in theory, you could argue that these DHS agents weren't looking to just go stay there and never pay. They were going to pay. They were fully prepared to pay. But you know what? That's fine. It still stands with the Third Amendment. You cannot force somebody to house our personnel there. Now, that's not the only one. There's another one also. People are referring the case a few years back where we had a baker who had a customer try to order a wedding cake, and the baker was like, I'm not a believer in same-sex marriage. And even the Supreme Court sided with the baker. Okay? I know there's a little bit more nuance to that case, but beside the point, they sided with the baker, which, it is a similar sort of case. A person's personal beliefs, how they conduct their business, you can't force them to go against a personal belief. Because, like I said, the hotel owner, their personal belief, fuck ICE. What may surprise some of you, considering those two particular cases that people are using as an argument in favor of this hotel owner, I agree completely. Look, he's perfectly within his rights. If you, almost every single business out there where you actually have doors open for public to come in, okay, most of the time you're going to see a sign somewhere that says, we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. He's exercising said right. You can't fault him for it. Now, here's the fun part. So Hilton found out that even after the conversation and they had an agreement that the hotel owner was continuing his fuck ICE campaign. Well, Hilton has turned around and they have severed all ties with said hotel owner. They've canceled his franchise, which means he's no longer allowed to have the Hilton name on his building or anything. Any equipment provided by Hilton is fucking gone. I mean, I hope he paid attention and learned things really well. I hope he has some savings aside to replace some of this equipment that you know Hilton's going to fucking take away. I'm sure it's not like he can go outside and just yank a sign off the side of his building. But he's got a limited amount of time. He's going to have to pull that sign off. Some people are now flipping the fuck out that Hilton would do such a thing. That the Hilton Corporation would do such a thing. But if you think about it, again, they're perfectly within their rights. Because the one thing you don't realize is that Hilton, being a much larger organization, you know, there's many, many more properties than this one with their name. And, you know, even though, yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there that are fully supporting this hotel owner. You know, hey, you're right to do that. But a lot of people out there also, they think it's a pretty shitty situation. And guess what? Hilton's name is on there. These people may decide they want to boycott Hilton because of this situation. And to make it even better is it's entirely possible that because this is a government agency that's being denied access, you know, the government could turn around and say, hey, all official travel, when you're booking your lodging, we're not paying for anything at Hilton. And for those of you who have no experience with the federal government or with military and traveling around it for different reasons, let me tell you, and please take my word for it, that's a lot of money. A lot of money that Hilton would be missing out on if, you know, they decided to do such a thing. So, of course, Hilton wants to disassociate from that. Because quite honestly, even if you got members of the board at the corporation who agree with this guy, it still can have a negative effect on their business. But we know that all you leftists don't give a fuck about your big ass corporations until they're donating to your cause. I understand that, okay? And a hotel owner, perfectly within his rights. Hilton's also within their rights. You know. Now, if anybody has found anything that I said wrong, please let me know. Show me what I said wrong and show me why it's wrong. I'm more than willing to bring it up. You prove me wrong, trust me, I'll do another video and I'll point this out. Nobody's challenged me as yet. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Because you know what? If you send me any kind of proof trying to prove me wrong, or you do prove me wrong, I will do a follow-up video. And, you know, if you send me something and I can still disprove whatever you're trying to tell me, you damn well bet I will send a follow-up video. So, thank you all for your time. We'll check you out later on. Hey there, everybody. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please, if you are enjoying the content I'm providing, if you are finding this information useful, go ahead, hit the like, hit the follow. Please, hit me up in the comments. Let me know that I'm speaking some truth. Hey, let me know if you have a disagreement. I just want a dialogue here. So, whatever you do, just let me know you're listening, and I thank you all for your time.